Everyone thinks I'm the villain for ghosting my childhood best friend after being the maid of honor in her wedding, so I'm here to spill the real tea. So me and this girl, let's call her Maddie, have been best friends since elementary school. I mean, we were having sleepovers every weekend, knew everything about each other. At one point, we even thought getting matching tattoos would be a good idea. Spoiler, that was not a good idea. Everyone knows that Maddie's the type of person that sometimes is kind of out of pocket, doesn't have a filter, and can say things that are pretty hurtful, but I love her so much. I know that she means well, so I never really took anything personally. Maddie gets engaged and asks me to be a maid of honor, and obviously I say yes, and I'm so excited. But Maddie started treating me like an employee instead of her friend. For almost 2 years, I would spend at least 5 hours a week doing something for this wedding, which wasn't an issue to me because, again, I love Maddie, she's my best friend, and I was excited for her wedding. The issue was that she wanted my entire life to revolve around her wedding. There were countless times that she would just call me in the middle of the day wanting to brainstorm something for the wedding, and I would text her and be like, hey girl, sorry, can't talk right now, I'm working. Can I call you later? And she would absolutely lose it on me, saying that I wasn't prioritizing her wedding, that I was a bad maid of honor. I was like, girl, it's like 2 p.m. on a Wednesday. I'm working. Let me call you like dinner time and we can have this conversation. Maddie decided that she didn't want to hire a wedding planner, so instead, I would just be her wedding planner, even though I've been to like 2 weddings in my entire life, and I was responsible for finding all of the different caterers and the florists and setting up everything. She just kept telling me that that's what maid of honors traditionally do, and I'd never been a maid of honor, so I didn't know any better. I now know that that is not normal. I should not be planning the entire wedding myself. If I ever made a suggestion she didn't like, she'd always be so condescending. She'd be like, Kels, it is so clear how single you are. You've obviously never even been close to getting married because you know nothing about planning a wedding. Yeah, I do know nothing about planning a wedding, so plan your own wedding. It wasn't even just me she was being horrible to. She was being terrible to everybody in her wedding. For example, one of the only things that she took care of 100% by herself was picking out the bridesmaids' dresses, which would be the one thing you think you would get bridesmaids' opinions on. She sends a link to this dress in the bridesmaids group chat, and it is an $1,800 dress. And it's one of these dresses that it looks like a bridesmaid's dress. You could not just wear this to other occasions. Maddie's like, okay, girls, you need to order these by the end of the week so that they come in time because they're custom made. Yeah, they better be custom made for how expensive they are. And 3 of the bridesmaids came to me separately saying that they just didn't have the budget to spend that much on a dress. So fair. I don't think most people could drop that much on a dress. But when I tried to bring this up with Maddie, she absolutely lost it. She was like, I can't believe people aren't prioritizing my wedding. You know what? If they don't want to spend money on my wedding, that's fine. They're not my real friends. They don't have to be my bridesmaids. And as the wedding gets closer, her behavior gets more and more erratic. She is blowing up our group chat, sending texts at like 3 a.m. with vision boards for her wedding saying, if y'all ruin my aesthetic for this wedding, I will kill you and never speak to you again. We were all just like scared to even speak to her because we didn't want to say the wrong thing and have her attack us. One of her other bridesmaids got engaged and she was like, oh my gosh, congrats, but please don't talk about your engagement or the wedding until my wedding's over because this time needs to be about me right now. And Maddie's wedding wasn't for another 7 months. Like, you don't want your friend to be able to talk about her upcoming wedding for 7 months? Even though Maddie was being terrible, I was just kind of letting everything go because I know that weddings can bring out the worst in people. So I was just giving her the benefit of the doubt. But there's a line. Maddie's wedding day comes and as expected, she is just ordering me around. And I'm doing what she tells me to because I'm just trying to make everything go smoothly. And yeah, she's being terrible the entire day. At one point, she asks me to bring her over her lipstick, but I misheard her and thought she said lip gloss. So I bring her over her lip gloss and she goes, are you stupid? She goes, grabs her lipstick and then holds them up and is like, lip gloss, lipstick. You should know the difference, okay? Maybe don't make that mistake again. It's really embarrassing. Okay, sorry I misheard you. But finally, we get through the ceremony. It goes so smoothly and I'm like, we're in the clear. The stress is done. We're going to go to the reception and everything is going to be great. I was wrong. Because I was the maid of honor, I had to give a speech during the reception. I had prepared this speech months in advance and spent so long practicing. It was a beautiful speech about how much Maddie meant to me and our friendship over the years. There was not a dry eye in the house. I did an incredible job. And I was the last speech. So right after I was done, Maddie and her husband got up to address everybody there. Maddie thanks everybody for coming and then says, and I also want to give a huge thank you to my best friend Kels for that amazing speech. Then she continues and says, there are just some people in this world that were born to support other people. Like Robin to Batman. And that's Kels. Then she looks me dead in the eye and says, you know what they say, always the bridesmaid, never the bride. But that's okay because you are an incredible bridesmaid. I have never in my life heard a room that silent. She was giggling like it was a funny joke and her husband looked super uncomfortable and I actually just wanted to burst into tears. But obviously everyone was just looking at me because they wanted to see my reaction. I just tried to stay completely emotionless. I waited till her speech was done, till people started getting back up to dance. I grabbed my things and I walked out and I never spoke to her again. Her husband, a lot of her friends, her family have all blown up my phone and said terrible things to me about how I'm a terrible person for not even having a conversation with her. But to be honest with you, if you're going to treat me like that, I don't owe you anything. So maybe I am the villain, but I don't think so.
Sometimes true for stranger non-fiction. The case of Richard Trenton Chase is a story which even the most depraved horror writer would struggle to create. Over the course of 4 weeks spanning across 1977 and 1978, Richard Chase took the lives of 6 innocent victims in Sacramento, California. His murders gradually progressed in violence, beginning with drive-by shootings and culminating in acts of cannibalism.
My family is pressuring me to give my sister my wedding venue because she needs it more and is pregnant. My fiance and I have been together for 8 years and engaged for 3. I was doing my PhD program and was juggling planning the wedding. My fiance took much of that work, but it was perfect because our dream venue was booked until after my graduation. So what we did is we booked our dream venue 3 years in advance. It really is a beautiful venue. The only slot we got was September of this year. My sister got engaged a few months ago to her fiance. They were planning on having a spring wedding next year. They had no venue lined up, but had a few vendors lined up as well as a set date. How can one have a set date if you don't have a venue? You can't really. Yesterday, our parents invited us and our significant others to a family barbecue where my sister announced to our extended family that she is expecting. Everyone was so happy for her and my brother-in-law, who is a great guy. My nan asked my sister if the wedding was still on the set date or if they were going to wait because of the baby. She said no, that she hoped that she could move it to September. Interesting. No big deal. We didn't have many out-of-town guests, so they could attend both weddings, no problem. Nan was happy and asked sister if she needed help planning such a short notice wedding. My sister then turns around and said, "That's what I really wanted to talk to you about. I was really hoping that we could kind of like take your venue." Absolutely not! No! Sorry, I was just really hoping that like we could take your venue. You haven't just like been waiting for this for like years. She said, "I really cannot stress myself too much with planning a wedding while going to maternity classes."
I missed the part where that's my problem.
Okay, then wait to get married. She also said, "I think it's so beautiful. It would really mean a lot to me." I'm sure it would. It went silent, but everyone was looking at me expecting to say, "Yes, of course, everything for my little sister." My brother-in-law looked very uncomfortable and told her that they had talked about this and it was not okay to put me on the spot. Yeah, she did it in front of your entire family. Ugh. That puts you in a position that you feel like you can't say no, but you also shouldn't. You shouldn't say yes. But my sister just said, "Don't be like that. My sister wants to do what's best for me, so it's no big deal, right?" Okay, so but she doesn't want to do what's best for you? I just said, "Well, it kind of is. I don't know. I have my heart set on that venue." Right, because you planned it 3 years in advance and waited. Cue the crying. Oh, brother. I know you said that she's like 23, but like this is typical childish behavior. She obviously learned that when she was a child that she could cry and get anything she wanted, and that's what she's doing. She stormed off. Nan told me I was being selfish because she needed the venue more than I did. Why? Is her wedding more... Finally, I get around to writing an update. After I last spoke to my parents, they did not let go of their position. What did I tell you? What did I tell you? I was the bad guy and I was responsible for my sister's depression and her failing relationship. I really hate it when people weaponize like mental health. It drives me absolutely insane. Not to diminish mental health problems, but you can't just say that you have mental health problems to get people to do whatever you want. Like, that's not fair. It went so far that I had to block them and change my number as they were contacting me from relatives' phones and so on. It was a real bummer, especially during a time that should be so special. I was harassed by my sister and her entourage on Facebook and Instagram, so I simply deleted it. All of this because you didn't want to give up the wedding venue that you were smart enough to book 3 years in advance.
Yes.
I fail to see how anyone is on her side. Like, I don't get it. It was a mentally draining time, but my husband's family and friends and my brother helped me get through it. I had basically cut off every family member that had given me crap for keeping my wedding date. My nan came to my door a few days before the wedding, begging to let her come. I had a long talk with her and she ended up apologizing, even though she still failed to see the logic in switching weddings. But she didn't want to pressure me and wanted to be there for me. We hugged it out, but our relationship is not back to normal yet. This is the thing, like, you can have family feuds, but at the end of the day, you are still family. And like, you don't have to see eye to eye on everything, but you got to be able to put those things aside for important family things, like weddings, like engagements, babies. The day of the wedding. The morning was really good and relaxing. My bridesmaids and I got ready. We drank Prosecco, made pictures. My dress fit perfectly and I looked just gorgeous. Yes, bestie, I'm happy for you. But then came time to leave for the ceremony. We were at the venue making before pictures with my friends when I saw the little car of my sister approaching the venue. What? What the hell is she doing there? Admittedly, I was my pants, or well, my dress. One of my friends ran to the venue to get one of the security people that we hired. I didn't want another Hulk smash moment at my wedding.
Smash.
She'd been angry and crying, and as soon as she saw me, she started screaming obscenities. What a psycho! Seriously, call the frickin' police! Apparently, I am a filthy that made her fiance break up with her. No, babes, you did that all on your own. Sorry, that's very satisfying. So bad. She was like possessed, and at that moment I couldn't but feel pity for her. A thing to explain is that in the mornings, the plants are always watered at the venue by some of these sprinkler systems. Thus, the earth was a bit muddy. The next thing that happened really fast, my sister bent down to take mud and was getting ready to throw it at me in my dress when my maid of honor sprinted toward her and pushed her so that she fell with her butt into the flowers. Dude. Police, like literally police. The security officer arrived seconds later and removed her. And with that, I had enough ammunition to file for a restraining order against her. Thank the Lord. What a psycho. I didn't even want to file a police report at this point. I just wanted her to stay away from me. The rest of the day was just amazing. I married my best friend, the love of my life, and just my rock. My brother walked me down the aisle. We all cried at the vows. It was spectacular. Of course, I miss my parents, but it is what it is. We left for our honeymoon, and when we came back, I decided to start looking for jobs in a different city. I didn't want to lose my friends, but I just felt like I needed a clean break. I got a new job at a university in a bigger city, and we're currently in the process of moving. But maybe the biggest change, and also the most cliche change, is that I am pregnant. Oh. Was your sister still pregnant? What happened there? What happened to your sister's baby?
Don't ask.
It is a classic honeymoon baby. We haven't really told anyone now in fear of something happening, so you nice people of Reddit are the first ones to know. Besides, my husband and me. I'm so excited that I'm tearing up writing this. This was not something we planned for a few years, but we are ecstatic. I've only heard through people in town about the rest of my family. My sister's going around telling people that I was the reason brother-in-law broke up with her, and that I was trying to dox her or some shit. She moved in with my parents and refuses to work. Nan told me the last time she saw my parents, they looked exhausted because my sister was behaving like a baby. Well, yeah, we kind of knew that, right? But maybe you needed stupid strangers on the internet to tell you that. I guess their parenting is catching up with them. I can only say that I'm really happy right now, and it hurts having lost family, but at the end of the day, cutting out toxic people is the best I could do. I now have a husband and a honeymoon baby on the way, my very own family. Oh, and a shiny new backbone. Congratulations, my dear, on the wedding, on the baby, on keeping your wedding venue and your dignity. And that shiny new backbone looks good on you.
Are you being a bridezilla? Or hear me out here. Are you trying to express your autonomy while trying to undergo one of the top 5 most stressful life events that you're going to endure? You're trying to do something that you've never done before, and you're trying to learn along the way, and you're spending more money than you've ever spent in your whole life. You're trying to merge 2 different families who possibly have different expectations, and you're trying to honor your wishes as well. The stakes are high, the stress is high, sometimes your emotions creep out a little bit too strongly, and you might cry, or you might even take it out on some people you love. You're trying to do something new, you're trying to do it right, you're trying to do it on a budget, you're trying to make everybody happy. Of course you're going to feel a little bit stressed out. Standing up for yourself is not being a bridezilla. Setting boundaries is not a bridezilla. Telling your mom or your mother-in-law or your aunt or your grandma that you're not going to be taking the advice that they're offering to you, that's not a bridezilla. The word bridezilla is a weaponized term that is meant to hurt your feelings. When you have people in your life who don't respect the boundaries that you set, they try to attack you personally. When people try to cross your boundaries and they realize that you are going to stand firm and you can't be persuaded and you can't be pushed over, they're going to call you every name in the book. They're going to call you a bitch. They're going to call you a bridezilla. And that says more about them than it says about you. Remember, this is your wedding, not theirs. They had their chance to get married 40 years ago. And if they don't like the way that you're planning, but you're happy with your decisions, that's okay. Find people in your corner who love you and support you and will stand by you and help you through this stressful time instead of trying to tear you down. I'm going to go ahead and bet that if you've ever been called a bridezilla because you were being too demanding with your requests, that person who used that word should probably take a look in the mirror first.
I've been a bridal makeup artist for 17 years, so I've seen a lot of crazy situations, but this has only happened to me once. I had a bride book in really last minute and she came for a makeup trial. Now, before I started her makeup, I asked her all kinds of questions and we settled on more of a natural glam look. Now, I will say that she wasn't picky. She seemed to be really open. She didn't say that she had anything in particular that she really wanted. She said, just do your thing. And I kind of want a natural glam with mauve tones.
Hi, bride. Happy wedding day. Hey, come on in. All right, is it okay if I get set up right here? Yeah, absolutely. And whenever you're ready, just let me know because I know it's just me getting makeup done today. All right, I'm all set up and ready for you. Okay, great. And I don't know if you could tell, but is this going to be an issue? I haven't tried putting makeup on top of this right here, but it does really hurt. And I don't know, it showed up the other day. I had a pimple under my nose and I popped it and it's just gotten really, really gross and bad. I don't know if you're going to be able to cover that up with makeup or... Oh, I didn't even notice. Let me see. Ooh. I don't think we could put makeup on top of that. What do you mean? Obviously you're going to have to cover it up. No, I'm sorry. Actually, I would recommend going to the urgent care. That is pretty bad. No, it's just a pimple. It really hurts, but I think it's fine. It's only gotten a little bigger over the last couple of days. We're doing airbrush anyway, it's not like it's gonna touch it. Shouldn't it be fine? I shouldn't have even said anything. Ow. So I can't diagnose you, but I can say that I, as an esthetician, think that looks like a staph infection. What? Yes, that looks like a staph infection, a really raging staph infection. If I were you, I would be going and getting antibiotics ASAP. You're kidding. I know that it was a really big pimple under my nose and it just popped and then it really started to hurt. But I think, can I get through the day? Like I said, I can't diagnose you and I'm not your doctor, but I cannot put makeup over top of that because it's just going to make it worse. How serious though? I can't get married today? I'm not a doctor, so I don't know, but I would say that I would definitely at least not put makeup on it, and I would be getting to the urgent care as soon as possible. I mean, if you've had this going on that bad for a couple of days, have you been feeling okay? I mean, I've had a fever this morning, but other than it being super painful, no. I don't know. All I know is I can't put makeup on top of that. Seriously? Seriously, I'm so sorry. Oh my gosh. Let me call my cousin and see what she thinks. She's a nurse. Okay. Hey, my makeup artist said she can't put makeup on me because she thinks that this is a staph infection. What do you think? Hi, yeah, I mean, that looks like it could be. It's pretty infected looking, and are you okay? Have you been feeling like you've having a fever or anything? Yeah, I woke up with a fever today, and I've had this going on for a couple of days, but I just thought it was a pimple. It was a big spot under my nose and it popped and it's just gotten worse. Ooh, yeah, I would definitely be going to the urgent care and she cannot put makeup on top of that. Am I not going to be able to get married today? I mean, if you get an antibiotic and if you put something over top of that, I'm sure that you could still get married. It's not that close to your mouth, but you might have to fake the first kiss. Wear a Band-Aid and fake my first kiss? Are you kidding me? Staph infections are nothing to joke about. Okay, well, which urgent care should I go to? There's one 5 miles away from your house. I would go to that one. Would you go with me? Yeah, let me get dressed and I'll meet you there. Okay, see you soon. Bye. What the hell? So I'm not going to be able to get my makeup done today? I'm sorry. I know that it's not ideal, but did you guys already buy face masks or anything? Because I know that it's just been lifted that you guys can get married without having a face mask on.
Okay, so this is the story time of one of my worst brides that I've done. It was on December 30, 2023, and it was my last bride of the year. First red flag, she called me at 8 p.m. one night to book her appointment. First, she didn't tell me that it was a bridal hair and makeup. I had to fish out what service it was, and then she finally said bridal. I told her, okay, when's your wedding? She said in 10 days.
Get ready with me while I tell you about my worst bridezilla ever and what I've learned from that situation. So I just assume when people book me that they're booking me.
All right, I just watched this video of someone sharing that they were accused of outshining the bride at this wedding that they were invited to. From what I gathered, this person is African and American, and they were invited to a German wedding. They were apparently told that the dress code was to dress to impress, and so this person showed up in their traditional wear. But when the guest got there, apparently the bride and her family were not very impressed. They said that her outfit was too extravagant. They also accused her of drawing attention from the bride and commanding the room. Now, this story, as well as another story that I just read about a woman who was just thrown out of a wedding by the bride for wearing a gold dress, and who was told by the bride, you are not, quote, you are not the first prize. This has me bewildered. Where is all of this insecurity coming from? This fear that as a grown woman, someone is going to steal your thunder at your own wedding. Honestly, if you are afraid that another person is going to outshine you at your own wedding, then step up your game. Because as a proud Nigerian woman, as a proud Yoruba woman, if you are not coming to my wedding in your absolute best, don't come. If you do not think that my wedding is worthy of your most beautiful, brightest, intricate, most stunning outfit, don't come. If your outfit is not giving, I am coming to celebrate you in the very best that I have. Don't even bother coming. For context, this is how we do weddings in my culture. This is how we expect our guests to show up and show out. I want to look back at photos from my wedding and think about how beautiful and fabulous my guests looked, that they came as their best and felt like their best. But honestly, I am so thankful that I grew up in a culture that is the complete opposite of some of the wild stories, wedding stories that I've been reading and seeing. I am curious what you all think. Is it just insecurity? Am I missing something else here? I want to hear your thoughts below, and please be kind and respectful. We're just having a conversation here, okay?
Hi, bride. Happy wedding day. Oh, hi, Kendra. Is everything okay? I'm just frustrated because everybody's running late today. I mean, you're the only person who has shown up actually on time. Is it just you in here right now? Like your bridesmaids and stuff aren't here yet? Just me. Even the people for the venue showed up late. I was standing outside for like 30 minutes before somebody came to let me in. Oh my gosh, I am so sorry. That is definitely not the vibe we need today, so we need to turn this around. I'm gonna start getting set up, and if nobody's here by the time I'm done, we're gonna just start blasting out some music, okay? Okay. Hey girl, I'm all set up. Is anybody else here yet, or just still you and me? Nope, just still you and me. Nobody's even answering my text messages. It looks like they're out for breakfast or something. They're out for breakfast? What? Did they invite you? No, I haven't talked to them since last night. They went to their hotel room, I went to mine, and they were gone this morning, so. Alright, well, since they're not here to have fun, we're gonna have fun. Let's start blasting some music. What do you want? Some 90s? Some, like, early 2000s? What are you thinking? I don't know, I'm just not really feeling it right now. Well, I'm not gonna let it be sad in here today, so I'm gonna blast some music and start dancing around. Whether or not you want to join me is totally up to you, but I don't want today to be a sad day. So yeah, I'm gonna start just dancing out. Okay. Come on! Okay. I don't dance. You better learn before the reception. Come on, girl. Okay, you're right. See, I told you that place is amazing for breakfast, and What, you guys had to start the party without us? Oh, Kendra just thought that it'd be cool to start the morning off with,
being happy and all that. Oh, well, the girls and I had a really great breakfast at this place. You totally should have come. Yeah, why didn't you come? Well, nobody invited me. I woke up and you guys were gone. Oh, we just wanted to give you time to sleep this morning, so we just didn't even want to wake you. Oh, well, hey, we're here. Sorry.
Guys, I nearly walked out of a bridal booking halfway. So disclaimer number 1, the person who I'm doing Mendi for in this video is not the person who I am talking about. And disclaimer number 2, the key word in this is nearly. I did not leave. I would never do that to a bride. However, I do feel that as a wedding vendor, if you feel disrespected to this level, you should be able to walk out and you shouldn't feel bad about it. Yes, I said what I said. We listen and we don't judge. Now let's move on to the story. So basically, I was booked by this lady to do her bridal Mendi as well as 7 other bridesmaids as soon as she was done. So in the run up to the wedding week, she basically changed her start time a few times. We ended up settling on a start time of 2 p.m. because she said she had to get her hair done in the morning, so she didn't want to be running late. I said that was absolutely fine. So on the day of the Mendi, I messaged her to say, hey, just to let you know, I will be with you at 2 p.m. today. She then messaged me back to say, hey, can we actually do 12 p.m. because I want to be done before my bridesmaids arrive. I said that's completely fine. I had an hour and a half journey to her house, so I quickly got ready. I left my house and I got there for 11:45 so that I could set up and start as scheduled at 12 p.m. Lo and behold, I got there and the bride wasn't even there yet. I was showed to the living room by her family and asked to wait about 10 minutes because the bride was running a little bit late. 20 minutes later, the bride came. She looked at me, didn't acknowledge me at all. No hi, hello, no apology for running late. No, I'm going to be another few minutes. Make yourself comfortable. Nothing like that. She ran upstairs and I was left alone in the living room. So about 30 minutes later, so 30 minutes after the 20 minutes that she was late, someone came down and said to me, hey, the bride's just going to be another 10 minutes. Sorry to keep you. I said at that point, that's completely fine. Just to let you know that I am going to be implementing a late fee because number 1, it is in my contract. And number 2, I don't always do this. Like, I know it's a wedding. I know things happen and I'm not so strict about the late fee. However, at this point, I was like, I've been waiting like nearly 45 minutes and it's a bit of a joke. So I thought, do you know what? It's fine. So I implemented the late fee and I carried on waiting. Thank God I implemented the late fee because do you know how long I was waiting for? An hour and a half. Yes, an hour and a half later, the bride came down the stairs already glammed up. And again, instead of acknowledging me, it was as if I was a ghost in her house, honestly. Like, she walked straight past me, went and sat in her backdrop and just started taking pictures with her friends and family. And it's like, does no one know I'm here? Am I invisible? I must be invisible because no one's acknowledged me. So I thought, okay, do you know what? It is what it is. I let her do what she was doing. And then 10 minutes later, I intervened and I said, hi, my name's Amy. I'm here to do your bridal Mendi. Just to let you know, I think we should start. Honestly, I was so close to walking out. Like, I don't even think I should have gone up to her at that point and said, let's start because you've just kept me waiting like nearly 2 hours. It's a bit of a joke at this point. So I thought, do you know what? It's fine. Like I said, it's not in my nature. So we started her Mendi and then about an hour and a half in, once we'd done her palm side, she asked me if we could take a 10-minute break because they just needed to welcome the groom side into the house. Again, it's a wedding. I know we have to stop sometimes. I know there's rituals, there's things to do, and I'm not super like annoyed about that. You know, 10 minutes is a good time to stretch, have a bite to eat. Like, it's a good break time. So I said, yeah, that's completely fine. Let's take a break. Little did I know that 10 minutes is going to turn into another hour. So yes, I'm nearly 2.5, nearly 3 hours behind schedule at this point, and I had clearly told the bride that I need to be home by 8 o'clock because I had commitments. So let's just throw my commitments in the bin because they're obviously not happening now. And I carried on. So at some point, the groom said to me, hey, you've done an absolutely incredible job. Thank you so much. The Mendi looks so good. The bride turned around to the groom and said, huh? Why are you saying thank you? I'm paying her to be here and do this for me. She's not doing it free. The level of disrespect and the level of embarrassment that I felt, you know, like when you feel like you're not worth anything, that's exactly how I felt in that moment. And yes, I know you're paying me to do a job, but he's just saying thank you and he's appreciating my art, something that you're not doing. You don't even like, you have no respect for anyone around you, yourself, me, anyone. So it was just a complete shit show, to be honest. So Anyway, I put my head down, continued with my job, because at that point I just wanted to do what I was doing and get out of there, because I didn't want to be there for any longer. After we had finished her mehndi, I was then obviously booked to do an hour's worth of bridesmaids mehndi. It turned out that 23 people wanted to get their mehndi done. Again, completely fine. I'm not going to say no. I'm there anyway. Like, let's just do it. However, I did let her know that it is now going to be 2 hours rather than an hour, because I'm not a machine and I can't do everything in 1 hour. She said to me she's not happy to extend because she's now having to pay a late fee. Lady, that's your fault. That's not my fault. But okay, that's fine. If an hour is all that you can afford, it's not a problem at all. I respect everyone's budgets. So I said to her, yeah, that's completely fine. Then I'll do what I can do in an hour. If everyone just gets one hand done for now, we should be done in an hour, maybe just slightly over. And I'm happy to take that charge off. It's not a problem. She said to me, oh, okay, that's fine, but you know, they all want 2 hands. And I was like, okay, well, I'm not going to sit here and argue with you. It is what it is, right? So at that point, one of her family members intervened and said, hey, look, we're happy to pay for ourselves. And she said, no, it's so expensive. You know, Mendy's not cheap. For what they do, it's just not worth it. Like, come on. Why are you being so disrespectful? Why are you being so disrespectful? And that too, you could say it in your own language so that I don't understand, you know? Sometimes, ignorance is bliss. So if I couldn't understand it, you're all good. But instead you're saying it in English so that, you know, I can very clearly hear it, because I'm still sitting by your feet. Anyway, it just so happened that I stayed the 2 hours and she paid my late fee. So she paid me completely fine. But it was just the lack of respect the whole time I was there. What would you do, guys? Would you leave or would you stay? I do understand that it's a bride and I would never do that, but I would love to know what you guys would do, because at that point I stayed, but I do regret my decision. I should have just left.
I had the worst bridezilla experience with my now ex-friend. What she did was she actually bought her own ring and then gave it to her boyfriend and gave him an ultimatum. He forcefully proposed to her. By then she had planned the wedding to be in fall. So being her bridesmaid was scarring. And I remember she said, I only want blondes to be bridesmaids of mine. So will you please be a bridesmaid? In addition to that, as her bridesmaid, she said, I don't want anyone to make speeches at my wedding, so can you please give a speech at my wedding? Prior to the wedding, the bride sent an email out to all of us bridesmaids with a full itinerary of the wedding. Come the wedding day, as I start my speech, I'm noticing all of the bridesmaids are looking at me in the most disgusted look ever. And then I could see the bride looking at them too, like, what the f was I doing up there? Come to find out, the bride had set me up.
This man was shot and killed during his wedding. October 12, 2024 was supposed to be the happiest day of Tyreek Burton's life. The 37-year-old was celebrating at the Barber Park Event Center in North Carolina, dancing with his new wife, surrounded by family, friends, and the people he loved most. The room was buzzing with joy, people were crying happy tears, Tyreek was beaming. And if you knew him, you understood why. Tyreek wasn't just a groom, he was a devoted father of 4 daughters, a loving partner of 16 years, and a man known in his community for his kindness, loyalty, and quiet strength. That day he was full of life, laughing, clapping, showing love to everyone. He wasn't holding back. But guys, just hours after he said I do, that joy turned into chaos. Late that night after the wedding ended, Tyreek thought his bride had already gone home. But when she called to say she was still at the venue, he turned the car around to go get her. And that's when everything went wrong. On his way back, Tyreek accidentally cut someone off in traffic while making a U-turn. He probably didn't think twice about it, but the other driver did. Instead of letting it go, the man followed Tyreek all the way back to the venue. There in front of his new wife, his daughter, and several horrified guests, the man pulled out a gun and opened fire. Tyreek was shot 15 times. He collapsed on the ground as screams filled the air. People who had just been dancing hours earlier were now sprinting, ducking, sobbing. His daughter watched her father die on what should have been one of the best days of their lives. And you're probably thinking, what happened to the shooter, El Nino? Well, it turns out that he vanished, he hasn't been caught, and as of today, police haven't announced any arrests or even named a suspect. There's no motive, no justice, nothing. If you guys want to stay updated on this case, then like and follow. Brad.
Well, since I don't have a lot she has to do, I'll go first. Super exciting day for your friend. How long have you guys known each other? Oh, yeah, it's exciting for sure. We've been friends for like, I don't know, 8 years or something. Oh, really? Are you guys pretty close? Yeah, I guess. I mean, we do stuff together sometimes here and there, but yeah. I mean, I'm her maid of honor, but... Gotcha. Yeah, she's just the first one in our friend group to get married, so we're all kind of strung along for it today. Oh, well, she's such a sweetheart, so I'm sure today's gonna be awesome. Yeah. Alright, Miss Bride, you are all set. What do you think? Oh, I love it. Thank you so much. Alright, girls, are you ready to get our dresses? Right now? I mean, is the photographer even here? Well, no, I just thought that we could just be already in our dresses when he gets here. I think we should wait. Alright, well, I'm gonna start getting cleaned up and get ready to head out, okay? Oh, yeah, okay. Hey ladies, I'm your photographer for today. Oh hey, perfect timing, we just got done with hair and makeup, so do you want to do some like getting ready pictures? Absolutely, we can do that. Great. Who wants to help me get in my dress? I guess I will. Okay. Hi, sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to wish you a happy wedding day. I'm about to head out. Oh, thank you, Kendra. Thank you for everything today. You were great. Girl, of course. I hope you have an amazing day today. Remember, it's your day. Thank you. New mail! Hi, Kendra. This is the bride. I just wanted to send you a thank you for being a big part of my day. You made me feel special and loved. All the best, the bride.
My wedding DJ was the DJ from hell. I wish him nothing but the worst, and every day I pray for the brides who have to deal with him in future. Story time? Okay, so this is the story about the DJ for my traditional wedding. I did not pick this DJ. My parents came to me and they said, we have this DJ, he's from our village back home, and it would mean a lot to us if you could choose him. So I sat down with my partner and we were just like, do you know what? Yeah, like we've decided the DJ for the white wedding, so we don't mind like using him. But oh, did I suffer. We had our first meeting with him and straight away he cusses out my accent. He insults my accent. He says I sound silly. He says to me and my partner, looking at the two of you, I know that you're not going to be able to dance, so you might want to start sorting that out. Like from the he came aggressive. He came so aggressive. Then towards the end of the meeting, we said like, oh, this is our vibe. These are the types of songs we like. And he said, nah, these songs are all dead. I won't be playing any of that. For every one song that you want, send me 5 options and I will pick my favourite. And like a dickhead, I listened. The next day after the meeting, I sent him my Spotify playlist with all the songs that I liked. And he said, oh, no, I can't use Spotify. I don't use Spotify. He is just really hard to get a hold of. So a couple weeks to the wedding, he calls my dad. Bear in mind, like, the coordinator has been trying to get a hold of him, saying this is the time you need to be here, this is the songs you need to play, etc. And he was not responding. So he calls my dad and he's like, yeah, bro, like, what time do I need to be there? My dad is trying to be respectful and he tells him the time that the guests are supposed to arrive. The DJ is supposed to arrive before the guests. Like, my dad just doesn't know. He's not a coordinator. He's just this chill guy who's just coming to his daughter's wedding. Do you know what I mean? Like, he has other things to think about. So I was there, luckily, with my dad at the time that he called. And I said, excuse me, the coordinator has been trying to get a hold of you. Can you call her? And she will tell you the time she needs to be there. Do not get communication from my family members. Like, this is becoming unprofessional. You are being paid here. So he was like, oh, sorry, I'll call her. So he finally gets a hold of my wedding coordinator, and my wedding coordinator is like, this guy is so rude, so disrespectful. And I'm like, I know, we're like a month away at this point, like, let's just deal with him. So a couple weeks go past and I send him all the songs. We finally agreed on all the songs. So we've agreed on that, we sent it to him, no response. Crickets, nothing. So 2 days before the wedding, I messaged him. I said, hello, just to reiterate, this is the breakdown. These are the songs we want. You haven't responded to any messages, so I'm under the impression that you haven't seen this. Please, could you confirm back to me? This man calls me 24 hours, okay, the day before my wedding, right? And he calls me screaming at me. And this is what he says. He says, did you type this stupid message with your hand? Do you not think I can read? Do you not know how much pressure I am under? I'm so stressed. Then he starts to cry. He starts to cry. and says, I'm causing him so much stress. This wedding is too stressful. Bear in mind, he is the one who's not responding to messages. He is the one who's been rude to everybody from the start. I said, do not ever call a bride the day before her wedding again. Do not communicate to me again. All communication goes through the wedding coordinator. You are so rude, so unprofessional. I hung up and I blocked him. And then a couple hours go by. He calls my dad to apologize, says he took it too far. He's just under a lot of pressure. He didn't call me. I blocked him, so he can't contact me. Fast forward the next day to the wedding day. Did you think I was done? I wish I was. I wish that was the worst of it. It was not. So we get to the wedding day. He gets there late. Of course he does. Of course he does. So we had agreed quite a few songs. We'd agreed the vibe of the night, so the types of songs I want you to play. And we also agreed the groomsmen were walking in first, a song for them. The bridesmaids were walking in next, a song for them. Then we were going to do a second outfit change, so a walk-in song for the couple. And then we were going to do a third look, a bride reveal on the balcony, another song. So the walk-in songs for the bridal party started late. He was supposed to start another song so that our choreography could start when we were in the middle of the dance floor. That did not happen. The couple song that we walked into was the complete wrong song, and the balcony song that we were supposed to dance to or our reveal was wrong. And that one pained me the most because we had rehearsed a dance. We had a choreographed dance. We paid a choreographer to teach us a dance, and we did not get to do that dance. No one will ever see that dance because he played the complete wrong song, and we just had to smile and fake it, even though the song that he revealed I had never heard of in my life. And then when I just think things can't get any worse, he just starts playing like EDM music at the end of the night on the dance floor. Like, my friends can dance. Like, my friends are on that dance floor. The difference between this traditional wedding and my white wedding was completely different. But nobody was dancing because the music was so bad. It was like so painful. It was just terrible. He just completely ruined the day. So this story was shared with me by a bride. It's actually happened, which is crazy. If you enjoyed this retelling of this story, please let me know. Please follow, and I will do more. If you guys have any crazy stories, please let me know, and I'd love to retell them. But yeah, this was fun.
This is not real life. I have been planning my wedding for 2 years. My fiance's from Montenegro. We're getting married in his hometown, and he filed his paperwork, and we got a call from the lawyer that they don't think it's going to be ready. And if we leave without this travel document, his green card application is completely void, and we risk him being stuck there indefinitely. Like, we're leaving for our wedding in Europe in 4 weeks. We're getting married in 5 weeks. We have guests, family, friends, going on once-in-a-lifetime vacation, spending thousands of dollars to come celebrate us. He can go to Montenegro and he can't come back, and we start completely over in another country. Like, I can't. I live in Los Angeles. I can't do this myself here. Or we postpone and tell all of our guests, and we risk nobody coming to our wedding, and I don't even want to do this anymore. Like, I'm so done. I'm so done. How is this, like, this isn't happening. This is not happening. So please, if you would, just, like, send us some positive vibes. I know it feels like the end of the world now, just because, like, you sacrifice so much during this period of time that I'm just so ready. I'm so excited, and it's just, like, presented with yet another mountain to climb over. Literally on pins and needles, down to the day. He works out of town, and he's literally flying in for 12 hours. It's just down to the minute. I just don't even know how this is possible.
For those asking if the other girl was uninvited to the wedding, the irony of this story is that the other girl was never invited to the wedding in the first place. It was a very small wedding. I'm pretty sure there was only about 6 of her actual friends invited. Red flag. Which makes it even more funny that she was going on about how half of the bridal party was crying in the bathroom, and the only person who was actually upset in the bathroom wasn't a part of the bridal party, nor invited to the wedding. Come to think of it, there wasn't even a bridal party. She was one of those brides who didn't have bridesmaids.
The bride drew a card that said hide and seek. Her new husband's face instantly turned pale with fear, but Grace thought it was just an ordinary party game. Her father-in-law smiled and said, "As long as you can hide until sunrise, you win." Grace took it as a playful challenge and went to hide. But as soon as she disappeared, the family began handing out weapons. Hiding inside a dumbwaiter, Grace felt the spot was too exposed, so she quietly returned to her room, only to find her husband, Mark, visibly panicked. Then they heard footsteps outside.
I'm seeing a lot of people talking about their experiences with David's Bridal, and as somebody who not only got my wedding dress from David's Bridal and also worked there, let me tell you, I had quite the experience, so buckle up. So first off, when I got my dress, I had actually gone in the day before my actual appointment, and they had extra time, so I just tried on a few by myself without my family to see what I liked.
And I had found one dress that I was like, this is my dress. I love it so much. So I told the stylist, I was like, this is my dress. When I come into my family tomorrow, please, if you can, like, just hype it up a little bit, make them feel like I really love it, because I know I'm a pushover when it comes to my mom. And I really, really want her to see how much I love it. And she's like, yep, I got you, no worries. So the next day, me and my family go in, and we start with that dress, and I say, this is my dress. And so when I go out in front of my family, I'm like, this is my dress, I love it so much. And my family's kind of like, yeah, I don't know, it's kind of boring. And like the stylist is like, yeah, I don't know, like, I don't really feel like you look that happy in it. Girl, I literally just told you, this is my dress, please help me. And I understand, like, in those situations, you know, it might feel a little awkward, but like, come on, please help me out. And she just kept going, like, no, I don't know, it doesn't really seem like you, let's try on a different dress. And of course the other dress that she wanted me to try on was a lot more expensive. Mind you, my one requirement for my dress was that it was not strapless. I did not want a strapless dress. And the dress she had me try on was strapless. That was way more expensive as well. And so I tried it on, and everybody's like, oh my god, it's perfect, I love it so much. I was like, yeah, but I really don't want strapless. So the manager of the location comes over, and she's like, oh, you don't want a strapless, we can fix that. I was like, are you sure? Like, how are we gonna fix that? She's like, well, it's so easy to add straps. And I was like, yeah, but I don't want just like two little straps, like I want it to look like it's not meant to be strapless, you know? And she's like, oh no, let me help you out. So she gets all these ribbons, and she makes this like super awesome, like intricate pattern out of these ribbons on my back, and it is beautiful. And she's like, this is what we can do. And I was like, you think we can actually do that? Like in alterations, like that won't be a problem? Like, I'm okay with it costing more money, but like, is that possible? And she's like, yeah, absolutely, we do this kind of stuff all the time. So she takes all these pictures of it, and she's like, see, I have pictures of it, I'll show the alterations lady exactly what you want, like, it's gonna be perfect. And I was like, okay, if you can promise me we can do this, I'm all in. Like, that's what I needed. I needed that to elevate this dress a little bit. And she's like, yep, we are good, like, this is gonna be beautiful. And so I buy the dress. Big mistake. A little bit later, the dress shows up, it goes to alterations, I have my appointment, and she's like, okay, so I see here that like you want to add straps. And I was like, yeah, but like she had shown me this beautiful design that we're gonna do, like I'm so excited. And she's like, what are you talking about? So I show her the picture that the manager had taken of what she thought we could do, and she goes, that's not possible. And I'm like, are you sure? Like, the manager's the one who told me this is possible, like it was her idea. And she was like, yeah, no, we can't do that. I was like, okay, well, could we get the manager over here? Because, like, this is what I was promised, and it's the whole reason I bought the dress, because, like, she said this was 100% possible. She's like, well, we can't do it. So the manager comes over, and I show her, and I'm like, hey, like, remember this? Remember this whole conversation we had where you promised me this? She's like, oh, yeah, we're going to be able to do that. And the alteration lady is looking at her like, what the fuck are you talking about? She's like, no, we can't do that. And the manager just kind of looks at me, and she goes, well, I guess we can't do that. And I'm like, okay. Well, that's the whole reason I bought this dress, because you pushed me into it so hard, and you made me 110% confident that the only change I needed was 100% possible. And they're like, yeah, I guess we can't do it. It's like, okay, so what are we gonna do? And so then they end up turning it into a halter. And I'm not talking like a cute, intricately done, like it looks like it was made to be a halter. I'm talking about like a ribbon just going around my neck. It was not cute, and it was not comfortable. And I was like, is there anything else we can do here? Like, mind you, at the time, I was only 20 years old. I was very young when I got married. So, like, I don't have much of a backbone at this point. And they're like, no, this is it. We can do this, or like, that's it. So I ended up with, like, the jankiest looking halter as my wedding dress, instead of this beautiful, intricately done, like, beautiful thing that they had told me I could do. So that was just my experience getting my dress. But then I decided to work there. Don't ask me why, I don't know what I was thinking, but one day when I was serving at my other job, the other manager of the business came in, the one that I had not worked with at all, and she recognized me as one of the brides from the store, and she was like, you know what, like, you are so personable and lovely, like, I bet you would do really well in the business. And I, at the time, was very desperate for another job. I was paying for a wedding, I was trying to get out of my living situation, and so I was like, you know what, let's do it. Let's do it. So I go and work at David's Bridal. And it was fucking awful. First of all, when people say like, oh, at bridal shops, like they will push you to spend money you don't have, it is not a joke. I was taught to sell head to toe. So a veil, a headpiece, earrings, necklace, like everything you can think of, a dress, an underskirt for the dress, even if it's a dress that doesn't really need an underskirt, shoes, anything. anything you can think of. Accessories for the bridesmaids, like every single thing you can possibly think of, I was taught to sell, which, okay, whatever, that I kind of understand. But then they teach you, like, I don't care if it's in their budget. I don't care if the accessories are in their budget. I don't care if the dress is in the budget. Nothing that you show them should be in their budget. You need to be showing them 3 dresses that are 3 times their budget before you even let them look in their budget. Also, don't let them look around at the dresses by themselves, because if you do that, they're going to find dresses in their budget, and you don't want that. You want to direct them to the designer they can't afford, and then let them, trifle around, because at that point they'll already have it in their minds that they want that dress. And then you have to make them apply for the David's Bridal credit card. You have to really push them for that and just explain to them, yeah, but if you get the David's Bridal credit card, you can buy whatever you want, and then you can just pay it off over time. So you don't really have a budget. Like, that was instilled in me. To simply just constantly sell them everything and anything under the sun that does not fit their budget, because we're here to make money, we're not here to make clients happy. It was so uncomfortable. I was constantly having conversations with my managers because I didn't want to do that. I refused to do that. I am somebody who lived very much in a budget, and I could not afford a lot of the things that they wanted me to do. And I was like, I'm not gonna do that. And they were constantly talking to me like, Kate, you're really needing to up your sales. And I was like, I can't in good conscience do this. Like, there are so many beautiful dresses within their budget. Why do I have to show them one that's 3 times their budget? Like, these are vulnerable people just wanting to get married and look beautiful, and like, we are ruining their experience. And so many times I'd have brides crying because we showed them a dress that was out of their budget and they didn't know what to do, and like, they didn't want to have to get a credit card, or their husband would get angry at them if they got a credit card, so they couldn't do that. But now they fell in love with the dress that they couldn't afford, and it was a disaster. It was so bad. But also, like, the business itself just sucked in general. So every day that I was scheduled to work, if they didn't have enough appointments for the people scheduled, they would call me and say, hey, don't come into work, we don't have enough appointments, which is fine, except for they would call me like 15 minutes before I was supposed to start my shift. And at the time, they knew I did not drive. I did not have my license, so I would have to get rides. And I explained this to them when I was hired. Like, hey, it's totally fine if you need to cut my shift or whatever, but like, please give me at least like an hour's notice, just because at that point, like, if I have a ride, I'm probably already going to be in the area, like, ready to go to work. And they never did. Every day that I would work, they would text me 15 minutes before I was supposed to start, hey, you're not working today, even though I've been on the schedule for 2 weeks. And so then I would already be in town, because I would just be meandering, waiting to go start my shift, and then I would have no way of getting home for a few hours until my next ride was scheduled, because it was just a mess. It was a mess, and they were so rude to people, and it was like the worst job ever. When I finally quit, I only lasted there like 3 months because I was so uncomfortable with the entire job portion of it. When I finally quit, I gave them my 2-week notice, and then they continued putting me on the schedule after the 2 weeks. And I said, hey, I will not be coming to those shifts because that is not within the 2 weeks I gave you. And they said, well, you didn't officially email us a 2-week notice, so like, that doesn't count. And I said, great. I talked to you, I talked to the other manager, and I talked to everybody that worked there, and I let them know this was my last day, regardless of if it was in writing or not. I do not care. I will not be there. And they were like, well, that looks really bad on you. And I was like, I don't fucking care. I'm never coming back to this company again. And then they shut down a few months later. Needless to say, fuck David's Bridal. Fuck that whole experience. It was the worst job of my entire existence. There's so much more I didn't even go into in this because this was already too long, but like, literally, it was the worst job. It was the worst experience. I hated my dress. Like, that company fucking sucks.
However, coined the phrase, you can't make this stuff up, might have known the story of real-life boogeyman, Albert Fish. A slight, elderly man with grey hair, no one suspected the kindly single father of being sadistic child murderer and cannibal.
Pastor thought our wedding day was our rehearsal. So she didn't show up to the rehearsal the night before, and my mom texted her asking if she would be there. And she was like, oh, I'll be there the next night. And we didn't think much of it. Day of the wedding came, and it was 10 minutes before the ceremony, and she still wasn't there. My mom called her and she said she was on her way. When she got there, she didn't check in with me or my fiance, but was casually talking to people, and the ceremony started. I was walking down the aisle with my dad, and she said, whoa, 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 slow down. When we got to the altar, she said, wow, I've never seen so many people show up for a rehearsal. I really hope you all come back tomorrow. We thought she was just being funny until she continued by saying, okay, now this speaker would come up, etc., to like do their readings. Finally, my husband had to lean over and tell her, this is the actual wedding. She was like, are you serious? And I pretty much blacked out for a bit.
This is the story of Nura Takaka and her experience performing at a jinn wedding. Nura Takaka, a Kuwaiti singer, led a band of talented women who were invited to perform at a wedding. The wedding took place at the bride's house, and upon arrival, they were greeted by the bride's mother. She guided them to a room where they could change into their performance attire and prepare for the event. As the guests began to arrive, the band started playing music and continued their captivating performance for hours. It was customary in many Middle Eastern countries for weddings to be attended exclusively by women, and this gathering followed that tradition. Everything seemed to be going smoothly, until one of Nura's backup singers suddenly panicked and fainted. Concerned for her colleague, Nura assisted her and led her to another room in order to help her calm down. It was there that the performer revealed a shocking encounter. A guest had lifted her dress and noticed that her feet resembled those of a horse. Nura and the band members convened away from the guests to discuss the unsettling experience. They all agreed that an eerie energy permeated the house, making them uncomfortable. Despite their unease, they decided to continue with their performance until the wedding concluded, which would be after midnight. Playing their music diligently, they entertained the guests until an unexpected turn of events occurred. The guests started screaming and jumping around frantically. Frustrated and determined to leave as swiftly as possible, Nura instructed her bandmates to pack up their instruments. As they hastily exited the house, they encountered a man walking. Surprised by their sudden departure, he inquired about their presence in the house. Nura explained that they had been performing at a wedding inside. The man responded, revealing a shocking truth. No one has lived in that house for years. Intrigued and wanting to prove the man wrong, Nura, accompanied by her band, ventured back into the house. To their astonishment, they found an empty dwelling, filled with broken furniture, dust covering every surface, and no signs of life. It became evident that the wedding that they had performed at was in fact a wedding of a jinn, a supernatural entity or demon in Islamic beliefs. Following the traumatic experiences they had endured, Nura decided to end her career as a singer, along with her band members. The encounters with the supernatural during the jinn's wedding had left an indelible mark, leading them to pursue different paths away from the world of music. Have you ever heard of the Vietnamese urban legend of the ghostly wedding? The legend of the ghostly wedding is a haunting Vietnamese tale that revolves around the wedding ceremony that takes place in the spirit realm. It is a story that combines elements of love, tragedy, and the supernatural. According to the legend, the ghostly wedding is said to occur in the realm of spirits or ghosts. It involves ghostly brides and grooms who are unable to find peace and move on due to unresolved love or unfinished business in their lives. These spirits come together to partake in a wedding ceremony, seeking closure and a chance to be united in eternal matrimony. The ghostly wedding is said to be a sorrowful and ethereal event. The ceremony takes place in a mythical setting, often described as a moonlit grove or an otherworldly landscape. Ghostly music, ethereal decorations, and shimmering lights set the stage for the solemn union. During the wedding, the ghostly brides and grooms exchange vows and profess their eternal love. It is said that their love is so strong that it transcends the boundaries between life and death. The ceremony is both a celebration of their love and a plea for redemption or release from their earthly attachments. Witnessing a ghostly wedding is believed to be a rare occurrence. Those who happen upon the event may experience a mixture of emotions, including awe, sadness, and a sense of ephemeral nature of existence. Some versions of the legend suggest that those who witness the ghostly wedding may be granted a glimpse into the realm of spirits and gain a deeper understanding of love, loss, and the mysteries of the afterlife. The legend of the ghostly wedding serves as a poignant reminder of the power of love and the longing for resolution in the realm of the supernatural. It reflects the belief that the bonds of love can transcend death and that some spirits remain tethered to the earthly realm until they find closure or fulfillment.
Have you guys heard of the gin-filled wedding? I don't know about you guys, but this story definitely freaked me out. Let me know what you think. So this story takes us back to 1997 in Kuwait, where we meet this woman here named Nora. She actually had her own band that was quite popular in the area, and they would perform at many weddings. And on one particular day in 1997, she received a phone call about someone inquiring about her band playing at an upcoming wedding. Of course, she said yes, and soon enough the wedding came around. Now at this point in time, it was very common for weddings to be held at the homes of the family. And this time it was no different. The wedding was being held at a giant mansion in Kuwait. So Nora and her bandmates get to the house and they notice how beautifully decorated it was. They knock on the door and a woman opens it and lets them in. Nora and her bandmates were then led to a separate seating area. As they were waiting, a woman comes towards them and greets all of the bandmates. She talks to them about how much she enjoys their music, greets them, and gives them all a kiss on the cheek. But this is where Nora saw something very odd. When she went to give the woman a kiss on the cheek, she said that the woman's face was extremely hot, almost as if she had a fever. And she also stated that the woman had a very masculine vibe to her, but she decided to brush it off. So Nora and her bandmates start playing their music and everyone at the wedding is dancing and having a good time. However, in the middle of all this, one of Nora's bandmates noticed something very alarming. She tells Nora that she noticed that many of the women had an abnormal amount of body hair on them. But then she tells Nora that one of the women lifted up her skirt and she noticed that she didn't have regular feet. Instead of having normal human feet, the woman ended up having hooves. Obviously, this freaked out Nora's bandmate quite a lot. Nora tells her friend not to freak out and to continue playing because they didn't want to draw any unwanted attention towards them. A few minutes after that, Nora said the bride and groom finally entered the room. They were both then sat at this weird looking statue that had its mouth wide open. And just a few minutes after that, all of the lights completely went out inside the house. Nora and her bandmates took this as an opportunity to finally escape and they just ran out of the house into the darkness of the night. At this point, it was now around 3 a.m. and the women thankfully ended up running into a man. He asks them what's wrong and they tell him that they were just playing at a wedding at that house behind them. The man was extremely confused and so he asks the woman to point out the house. The women then point at a house that had been abandoned. And the man tells them that no one has lived there for over 10 years. And when the women looked back, the beautiful house that they had arrived to was no longer there. After that night, Nora and her band decided to retire.
I was uninvited to a wedding despite having already paid for a $650 dress, $500 in accommodation, and business class flights. The good news is I still used the flights. I went on a gorgeous girls trip with my mum and my sister. We had the best time. We drank wine. We went to the most amazing wineries. There was a lot of drinking on this trip. I also still got to wear my gorgeous $650 Alice McCall dress. I actually wore it to another wedding, which I emceed for one of my true friends. I did lose out on the cost of accommodation, but c'est la vie. And the memories I made with my mum and my beautiful sister was so much better than going to a wedding anyway.
Hi, bride. Happy wedding day. No, you don't understand. They were supposed to be... Oh, sorry. Hi. Would I be able to ask you where she was wanting me to set up today? I don't know. I'm not getting makeup done today. Oh, okay. Yeah, I wasn't sure if anybody knew where I was supposed to set up. I will just go set up over there and hope that it's okay. I hope you're not setting up here. Oh, are you using this spot for something? I'm sorry, I was trying to get a hold of people to figure out where to set up and I couldn't get a straight answer, so I just was trying to do it to kind of help the day move along, but if you need this spot, I'll totally move. Yeah, that spot's really important, so you're gonna have to find somewhere else. Okay, yeah, not a problem. It's not my fault that the roads are snowy. Oh my god. Kendra, babe, no. Nope, we're not setting up over there. You're gonna have to go set up over there. No, they have to be here. I don't care how... The cake has to be here. Oh, okay. I already told you not to set up right here. I know, I'm sorry, but the bride told me she doesn't want me to set up anywhere else. She wants me to set up here. She's just really busy on the phone. I can't really get a clear answer of what she's wanting particularly out of me, but she told me to come over here and set up. So that's what I did. And I'm telling you, as the event planner, you are not setting up here. Where would you like me to set up then? Because the area you told me to go to, she said no. That is not my job to figure out. Well, if we want to end on time, I really need to get set up now because I've already cut into about 5 minutes of my setting up time, so where would you like me to go? Just set up right over there. Okay. All right, I'm all ready for whoever wants to go first. Hi, I'm the mother of the bride. Just wanted to let you know, super quick, your day just got a whole lot easier. Oh, really? Why is that? A bunch of the girls decided last minute they don't really want to get their makeup done. I guess they didn't realize that they would be paying for it. So it's just gonna be myself and the bride today. Oh, well, the bride already paid for everybody to get their makeup done, so they would just have to pay her back. I don't know if she would be willing to, like, take a little time doing that, but she already paid me, so everybody is already paid for if they want to get their makeup done. Oh, no, you're not understanding, hon. We will be getting a refund for that, because they don't need the makeup done any longer. I'm gonna go and chat with the bride about this. No, we don't need to be bothering her. For this big of a change, I need to.
My bridesmaid is trying to hijack my wedding after getting engaged at my engagement party. Honestly, guys, this story is crazy from start to finish. Hi, my name is Leah. I'm a 2026 bride, and this is not my story. This is actually a series where I read out wedding dilemmas that have been sent in to me, and you guys can help in the comments. I do ask that you please be kind and that you listen to the details so that you can give the correct advice. Let's get into this one because it's honestly mental. Me and my partner have been together for 6 years and engaged for 3 years. When we got engaged, we decided not to jump in with the wedding planning because we were closing on our house at the time. However, a year later into being engaged, my partner got a massive promotion at work that came with a huge bonus, and I landed my dream job. We were settled in our home and decided to use all that money towards the big dream wedding that we'd always wanted. To celebrate the start of the wedding planning, we decided to throw a massive engagement party at the local golf club, which is absolutely stunning. It is so beautiful. But halfway through the party, I look over at the dance floor and I notice one of my bridesmaids, bear in mind I'd only an hour ago asked her to be my bridesmaid, her fiance was down on one knee asking her to marry him. The room was just silent. Nobody knew how to react. People started clapping, but you could tell that people felt so awkward about this situation. After the engagement, we went up to the newly engaged couple to congratulate them, and the guy that had proposed, my friend's partner, decided to make a comment to my fiance about how he decided to propose because it was a really gorgeous venue and it would save him a lot of money. I was actually quite annoyed about this because if he would have come to me beforehand, I would have helped him arrange the engagement and we could have thrown a surprise double engagement party and it would have been such a nice occasion to spend together. I think he didn't ask us because he thought we would have said no, which again is a weird situation. But we decided to brush it off because there was nothing that we could do and we were actually really happy for them. We are now about 6 months out from our big day, which is happening in the south of France. We've always wanted an abroad wedding. We always wanted a big, massive wedding with all our friends and family, but we wanted to make sure that if we had that wedding, we were able to afford everyone's accommodation and flights because we didn't want people to be out of pocket coming to what would probably be their only holiday of the year and have to spend it celebrating us. Last week, my friend and her fiance came over to our house to talk about the wedding, to talk about the accommodation and the flights and sort all those things. Bear in mind, she has not mentioned her wedding once to me since that engagement party incident. But at this moment in time, she decided to spring on us the fact that when they're out in the south of France for our wedding, they will also be getting married. And they have booked the entire thing for the day before our wedding and have invited basically our entire wedding guest list. I'm going to leave it there and we're going to have to do a part 2 because this story just keeps getting crazier and crazier and crazier and I need to make sure that I talk about the details, so I will see you in part 2.
Okay, I'm going to talk about it. Yeah. This is the story about how I was made to feel super ugly on my wedding day. So, you know, growing up, you watch all these bride shows, say yes to the dress, all that stuff. Well, I was raised LDS, and I wanted to have an LDS temple wedding. Now, don't get me wrong, I wasn't young at this point. I was considered an older bride because I was 25 when I got married. But yeah, so when I got engaged, I immediately ran to a dress store so that I could pick out the wedding dress of my dreams. I was so excited. Let me show you the dress that I picked. Okay, so here's the dress that I picked on the day that I said yes. This was on April 24th of last year. I was absolutely in love with this dress. I was so excited to buy it. But it was not like temple modest, which is like LDS term for it has to cover up to your neck and it has to cover your shoulders. So I would have bought this dress as is because, as you can see, it fit me really well. But I realized, and I knew, and this shop had advertised that they could alter it for me to make it temple modest because I live in Utah, so they knew what that meant, they knew what that entailed, blah, 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 blah. I wasn't worried about it. Also, side note, here's the back because it's seriously, this dress was stunning. I was obsessed. Okay, so like, I'm ready for my wedding. I buy this dress. I spend $3,000 on it, which is a lot for a Mormon wedding. Like, Mormon weddings are kind of notoriously cheap, but I didn't want to be like all the other girls. Obviously, you can see where that took me. I am now ex-Mormon. But I wanted to be different. I wanted to spend money on a dress to feel really special. And I put half of my budget towards this dress. Literally half of my budget. Like I said, I bought it on April 24th. I was not told that I bought the floor gown, but that's okay. I was fine with that as long as they could alter it in time for my wedding. So yeah, you can probably see where this is going. This is the picture I received on July 15th. So almost 3 months later, they had only done this to my dress. That's all they had done. And they had not constructed a new dress. This was the same dress that I had purchased. All they did was pin some lace to the top. Okay? They didn't have me in for any fittings between then and when this picture was sent. Nothing. Like, they did not have me in. They wanted nothing to do with me. Okay, and then this is the back. So you can see literally just pinned. That's all they did. And I was told they would create an illusion neckline for me, so that's why that's like that. And then they have the lining to cover my temple modesty garment sleeves. Okay, I'm starting to run out of time, so I'm gonna finish this story in a part 2.